Hey YouTube. Okay, I want to make a video about the webinar they had today at 5 o'clock with the general manager in the Atlanta region. I don't know his name, so I can't remember. It's not I can't remember. I didn't write it down, and I frankly didn't really care. I just wanted to hear more about the webinar. So let me tell you how it was set up. Basically, everyone, or most people, would have received an invitation on Monday with a Google form to fill out to write their questions and check what items or concerns they wish to address on the webinar, which was at 5 o'clock Eastern Standard Time today, Wednesday, the 11th. And it was with the general manager and this other guy. I don't know. I don't remember. I don't recall their names. Anyway, so it was a webinar that you download the link, and then you actually will see them discussing and answering questions from the 200, 300, or 400 questions I think they said they received. So from that, they based the webinar on that guidelines. Now, they first started off talking about the new policy of the airport pickup procedures. As most of us know, in Atlanta, we received a decal in the mail that when you pick up passengers from the airport, you are to go to a designated area in the airport, Atlanta, Jackson, Hartfield, with the decal, and you basically are waiting in a pool of cars. And from that ID, you will be dispatched when to pick up passengers from the airport. Now, two things that came from that was, one, they talked about you have to have 7 years or newer model cars. So if your car is a 2010 and newer, you're allowed to pick up from the airport. So every year, so if you have a 2010, that means this year will be the only year you will be able to pick people up from the airport if you have a 2010 car. So that means next year, your car will be 8 years, then you cannot do the airport. And that was voted on from the Atlanta City Council. The other thing that was brought up about the airport pickup procedures was people was bringing concerns about the bathrooms and breaks. I don't understand. They said that they heard the concerns about having a bathrooms. So I guess now, if you had to go to the bathrooms, they're going to have it set up where they're going to have it where people could go to the bathrooms or the restrooms. I haven't been to the airport, that location, to see where they're going to put these bathrooms at and how they're going to do it. But basically, they said you won't, say you was in the line and you was in the queue, and based on whatever number you are, if someone had to go to the bathroom, you know, rather than getting out there, rather than leaving the spot, leaving their spot in place, they could go to the bathroom and then not lose their spot, and they still get dispatched. But then you still have to come back to the location at the airport. I was like, okay, so I didn't get it. That means that they're gonna have a bathrooms where you could, what is it gonna be, a potty or what? I don't know. We shall see. But they didn't too much elaborate on that. I don't know where they came. Who even asked that question? But I guess it must be a concern for people. Then they talked about Uber pool. Basically, Uber pool seems to be a big thing, and Uber pool ain't going nowhere. If anything, they're going to be aggressively marketing the Uber pool, and you cannot opt out of Uber pool. You cannot notify Uber, say, I wish to opt out. No, that's not going to happen. They're not going to do it. You cannot opt out of Uber pool at all. None, zilch. So that's not going to be something someone's going to do. So don't notify Uber. Don't say my market's different and they let me opt out. If anybody say that, it's not true. So please don't come back and make a video about it, because I heard it from the horse's mouth, from the two horses' mouth. Well, jackasses, if you ask me. But anyway, then the big $1 million question was tips. The answer is no. Uber will not implement a tip option on their app. They're not going to do it. They said no. And the reason is that they wanted to have Uber be a unique company to create, this is what they said, magical experience for both customer and drivers by being a unique company and not compromise their rate structure. They felt that if they implement a tip option, it takes away the magical experience for the customer and drivers, and therefore they don't want to set the expectation for drivers to make X amount of money, and they felt that you could maximize your earnings. I mean, that was full of crap. I was like, you know what? I was so ready to leave that seminar, webinar after that comment. But I said, you know what? Let me hear this foolishness further, because it was getting dumber and ridiculous. And then they said that you can take cash tips, but they never addressed the verbiage on the website about not taking tips and optional. They're not going to change the verbiage. So basically, as a driver, basically you can market how you wish to implement getting tips, you know. But you are allowed to get tips, but they're not going to change the verbiage on that. I tell you that. So unfortunately, that's going to stay in place. What else they talked about? Then they talked, I'm going to turn off this light because I can't drive with this light on. Then they talked about, let me see, I said the pool, I said the tips, the airport. That was it. I mean, it was too scripted for me. It was too scripted. It was too, you know, they didn't answer the questions that was more concerning to me. And a lot of things they said is basically a lot of things that people already know about. One thing they mentioned is that you're not allowed to pick up anyone under the age of 18. So if they're underage, you cannot pick them up. And if you believe they're under the age of 18, then you could decline the trip. They must be accompanied by an adult, 18 years or up. So you cannot pick up minors. But I guess most people should have known that. But I know when I was driving customers, I knew I had picked up a few minors. But, you know, so that's not allowed. You can't do that. Not allowed to do that. Open concealed alcohol. You know, you're not really a taxi, so you can't do that. You know, I guess unless it's in a cup and it's concealed. But you know, it was a lot of you can't do this, and it was more like a webinar was based upon going over policies of what drivers can and can't do. It was not a seminar based on concerns. It wasn't a seminar based on issues that they felt that need to be addressed. It was none of that. But at one point on the seminar, the sound went dead. So I lost connection at that point. But I was on there for about 35 minutes. So if anybody who's watching this video was on the webinar today that has any concerns or issues, please comment, like, and subscribe. Or is it like, comment, and subscribe? Below. You can't see me, but I'm pointing below. And tell me what you thought about the webinar. And if you was on the webinar today, tell me what you thought about it or bring up some points that I may have missed, because I don't know when this webinar ended. I knew that I was on there for 35 minutes, and at that point I lost connection, and I think it was over. So I guess I'll talk to y'all later. Bye.